Hello, hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good whatever, wherever you are. You have found your way to twitch.tv/speedgaming, where we are bringing you a Link to the Past Randomizer League Season 2 Week 1 match between DoctorBobtastic of Beard Force 1 and Kuchiri of Team 63 and 1/3. Calling this match tonight, I am Reg, and running the tracker for me will be MathGirl718. So, hello everybody. As I mentioned, this is a league match. This is actually the last Pyramid of Power division match of the week. And Team 63 and 1/3 is aiming to be one of two teams this week in that division to go 2-0 if Kuchiri can take the win here. And that will set them up for a match next week with the other team in the division that went 2-0, Team Skullwood's Big Skip. So, since this is week 1 of the league, we will be seeing normal settings, open mode, defeat Ganon, 7 crystals required, all the good stuff. And these runners should be off in just a few seconds here, I believe. Yes, and now they are off. And we've got a weapon straight out the gate in Link's house. That fire rod is pretty nice as soon as you get magic to power it. Until then, it's not even good as a walking stick. But we did see the map for the Hyrule Castle area in the Sanctuary. So that's just going to be a lot of items in the castle and the sewers to find. And actually, we do see Dr. Bob come out of the Sanctuary going for the Lumberjack check. And he's using that extra time to kill enemies like that pickle he just killed to get tree pulls. And he'll check the bush crab up here, which is small magic. Useful for that fire rod, not for much else at this juncture. But he is getting extra checks at the tree pull and the bush crab via those kills. So he will have 2 chances to pull bombs off the tree. That bottle on the Lumberjack ledge is a little spooky, but only until we find another one. And you can see here, oh, Dr. Bob actually not killing the little pickle there, but is coming up, just 10 arrows in the mushroom spot. Gonna grab him just in case he finds a bow somewhere. But ultimately, there's enough of those around that I wouldn't expect either runner to be starved for them at any point this seed. Map check there shows just 3 crystals, a 5/6 crystal at Desert Palace and 2 ordinary ones elsewhere in the Light World. So 3 pendants to be found in the Dark World. Could be on 3 very slow dungeons. Could also be required anyways. Unfortunately, for chats asking about Dr. Bob's spray, I actually do not know what it is off the top of my head. Hopefully somebody else knows and can call it out. I do know that Kuchiri is using a Mega Man sprite. And the first check in Blind's hideout, half magic? I think Kuchiri is going to be very happy to find that with the fire rod that he has, and it will make Dr. Bob very happy to find that fire rod once he saves and quits to Link's house. Unfortunately, without a bomb, DoctorBobtastic not able to get to the back of Blind's hut, so he'll either have to leave that for the time being or double back. Jumping into the well with 0 bombs is leaving him in the same position here, unless he pulls some. That's a magic mirror and 50 rupees. 50 rupees will let you buy bombs, but neither of those things good for opening cracked walls immediately. So, gonna have to continue just doubling back after buying bombs if he wants. Meanwhile, Kuchiri he started at Link's house, went to Uncle. Both Uncle and the chest had 3 bombs apiece, so he is well set on bombs for the time being. But Dr. Bob has not missed anything of note behind those bombable balls yet, so all he'll be losing is time if he goes back to them, which it appears he wants to. Maybe. That red boomerang is a solid find this early on. It can be used for some fake flipper strategies. I believe you can do that with just red boomerang and bombs. I would have to double check to be 100% confident in that assessment though. But I believe it can. And yeah, here's Dr. Bob. He is running back. He's going to get his stuff out of the back of the well, the back of Blind's hut. And then at that point, it'll be remain to be seen whether he walks all the way back down to the library in the race game, or if he's just gonna leave those. I think both of them are valid. I did not catch what was on the race game, unfortunately. I have double checked. Oh, there's a bow on the race game. That's going to be pretty nice, and neither runner's going to want to skip that. But I did double check. It is possible to splash delete with just bombs and the red boomerang. It is more than a bit tricky, but it is possible. Of course, whether either runner has practiced that is a different matter, as I could not do so myself without a lot of practice. So now the interesting thing about this bow plus fire rod combination is if Kuchiri takes that to Eastern Palace, then the Armos Knight kill is in logic for him as long as the big key is not behind the dark room. If it's anywhere else, he can go kill Armos and the game will have that in logic. Could possibly expect him to do that as his next progression. But Eastern Palace, not the choice for him yet. Choosing the more traditional South Shore checks first. Chat's saying that yes, the dark rooms with torches are in logic with the fire rod. However, the vanilla big key in Eastern Palace is behind dark rooms that do not have torches. So if that key is vanilla, there is no logic there. And yes, Kuchiri has the mirror. He could have used that to splash, or not splash, but just do the block deletion. By just mirroring while you're pushing the block, that will delete the block and let you just walk straight through. Would have let him do the damn in one trip, but he chose not to. Right, so it's a choice to make. And Kuchiri takes a death from the crab on his way to Mini Moldworm Cave as Dr. Bob picks up his half magic plus fire rod combo. And Dr. Bob is taking that bow in the Eastern Palace direction. So he's going to have a dungeon crawl for 6 items, 3 in Sahasrara's closet, 3 in Eastern Palace itself. Dr. Bob is not talking to Sahasrara to get him to tell us where the green pendant is, but that hook shot, that's pretty worth. That's always a good item to have. Oh, and the green pendant is in Thief's Town. So Pendant Thieves Town. A lot of runners really dislike it. I think they're entirely justified in doing so because of the low equipment requirements to clear that dungeon. Like basically if you can get to the front door and you have a hammer, you are guaranteed able to full clear it. So doing that for a pendant is pretty in most runners' opinions. But Kuchiri found the flippers, so between that and the hook shot that Dr. Bob found and the mirror we found in Kakariko, we're looking at the Swamp Palace care package in Sphere 1 today. Just missing the hammer for that, and some form of Dark World access. So into Eastern Palace proper with the big key in the very first chest. That does mean that the Armos Knight skill is absolutely in logic for Dr. Bob at this point. The remaining chest behind the other dark room that has the big key in the vanilla game is not in logic, but there's always a chance that that just holds a map or a compass and you don't need to visit it anyways. And that's a sank cart for a free refill in the second chest. Always nice to find that when you're not full. And then sometimes you find it when you are full and you don't even realize you grabbed it, and it's a bit sad. Meanwhile, Kuchiri having to be a little careful to avoid that water or that whirlpool warp. Does not want to go to the sanctuary area. He wants to take his flippers to Hobo instead. And there's a map in Eastern Palace, so still 2 items to find, 3 checks to find them in. The big chest is obviously free and easy, but it's only a compass, so it's gonna have to go for the lamp-locked item just to not leave it behind. As Kuchiri finds a glove, so as soon as he gets over to Sahasrara, he has the option of taking that glove, sequence breaking up Death Mountain for full access to everything in the light world there except Terra. So that could be a play coming up in the very near future if he doesn't, or even if he does want to go into Eastern Palace. Also, chat's talking about a Cane of Samaria. I have not seen a Cane of Samaria. There was a fire rod in Link's house, but I don't think we've seen a cane yet. And Kuchiri is now sitting on double rods. So that's always very relieving to find, just because it means the seed won't devolve into a hunt for that item. And Ice Rod hunts are just very few runners like them, because you're just playing a game to see who gets lucky first and finds the item. And Kuchiri was about a second away from bailing on that shovel, but he's going to go for it. Doesn't want to leave that fetch quest behind this early when he can actually reach it. But he is isolating the Zora check, which he can't afford to pay for. We'll have to come back later for if he decides he needs to. Meanwhile, Dr. Bob showing off the Eastern Palace Rupee Room. 90 rupees in here to bring him just that much closer to being able to pay King Zora, Kiki the Monkey, whoever else. And Kuchiri is going, looks like, to immediately turn in that fetch quest shovel. So, following the logic chain just as deep into it as he can at this point. The flippers to the shovel to whatever. Which at this point, his outstanding checks are Agina's Cave way out in the desert, Eastern Palace area, which we know has some of the goods, and the castle. which is 6 items total. Unfortunately, that shovel just gave him a small bit of cash. On Dr. Bob's side, set up for the Armos Knight's quick kill, but lost it when he got bounced around, couldn't get it lined up to take the damage, but there is a lamp on the boss. So, who wants to go to Death Mountain? Because between the gloves, the lamp, and the hookshot, that is looking very much like a play. Of course, Dr. Bob still has to get those gloves from the hobo, but I have to imagine South Shore is going to be his next set of checks. And yes, if you're full clearing, like 216 out of 216 clearing this seed, the logic wanted you to double dip Eastern Palace. However, the trash in that chest, no runner would double dip for that if they knew what it was. And just to explain, since it's come up in chat, the league this season is using a point system. Basically, every team plays 2 matches a week against their opposing team. And you get 3 points for your team for a win, 1 point if the race ends in a tie, and 0 points if the race ends in a loss. So since the previous race between these two saw Team 63 and 1/3 runner Karnath beat Beard Force 1 runner Unknown Availability, Team 63 and 1/3 got 3 points, and Beard Force 1 still has 0. So now we've got the runners here just sort of retracing what the others already done. Dr. Bob's about to get his flippers. Presumably he'll follow on to Ice Rod Cave and then his flipper checks from there. And Kuchiri is in Eastern Palace, looking to get that one cleaned up. Also, just as another reminder, I've said it a couple times, but this is a league format. This is not a tournament. It looked like Dr. Bob was trying to set up fake flippers despite having the real ones, choosing to take just the walk instead. But regardless, yeah, this is a league. It goes for 7 weeks, and nobody is eliminated until after the 7th week when the playoff stage starts. So, unlike the tournament, there's a lot of races, there's a lot of incentive to keep racing even after you've lost. And it also means that ties are much less impactful aside from having to get a reduced number of points for them. And yes, for all the non-Americans in chat, think football. That's pretty much the structure. However, I do need to emphasize non-Americans for that one. Dr. Bob skipped out on his flipper checks after Ice Rod Cave. He's choosing the 6 items in the castle instead, presuming that's because he can't afford to pay Zora. And he does not want to isolate that check. But he's getting his 6 bombs here that Kuchiri had at the very start of the game, and he's going to be going into the castle afterwards. And there are 7 checks in the castle. One of them is going to be a key. That leaves 6 items to be found, which makes it a very high density play at this stage of the game. Kuchiri taking the rupee room just like DoctorBobtastic did. Good self-awareness on both runners to know the rupee counts. Remember that room exists because it is a criminally underused room in the randomizer. But in general, I think Kuchiri's goal at this point is to have upwards of 500 rupees when he visits the catfish, because he has the mirror and he can just follow that all the way back down. So... Actually, something of note for DoctorBobtastic's routing here, he does not have the glove, so he needs to find that before this might strongly matter. However, if there will not be a small key in the next 2 checks for him. The logic of the randomizer will never place a small key for the castle in the boomerang chest or in Zelda's cell unless you're playing standard mode, and this is not standard mode. Therefore, it can only be in the Dark Cross or the back. And if it's in the back, he needs the glove to get it. Although at that point, it won't matter to him either. And that bottle we found means that we are not going to be killing Aghanim for the Lumberjack. Might still need to kill him otherwise. We've not found Dark World access. But that does take 1 potential off the table. Also, chat's calling out the map. We have already seen the castle map. It was in the sanctuary. Kuchiri is having a bit of fun with the red Igors here that DoctorBobtastic did not have to spend time on. However, let's see if he goes for a quick kill setup. He's in position for 1. Is not going for 1. Just gonna plonk arrows into them normally. And when the last one turns red, he's not gonna be surprised. He's just gonna do it and get his lamp. And Dr. Bob cannot reach the back 3 chests in the sewers. However, since the small key is going to be back there, it means there's only going to be 2 items. But it's still also going to be 2 very fast items that Kuchiri could possibly get right now if he wanted to with this save and quit. And chat's talking about Tower of Hera. With the mirror, we can reach the Tower of Hera. Without a sword or a hammer, we cannot kill Moldorm. So I disagree with the assessment that it is a quote-unquote free crystal, unfortunately. That Sit Kid is just more cash as Kuchiri is, in fact, headed up the mountain. Where's Dr. Bob going from here? Oh, did he not walk back for the first or for the last chest of Blind's hideout when he was first here? Oh, DoctorBobtastic is resorting to the 30 rupees in Blind's hideout to farm Zora money. Yeah. With the flippers and with no glove, there are no convenient Houlihan setups for DoctorBobtastic here. And with no glove, that means that this is literally his best farming option. So this is going to be a slow burn for Dr. Bob. Meanwhile, Kuchiri's got a glove, which means that he can theoretically Houlihan off of the grave that drops him into the back of Escape if he wants to. But yes, unfortunately for Dr. Bob, he is missing the glove. Kuchiri is not missing the boots for very long, though, as they're up on top of Spec Rock. Dark World map says pendants are Thieves Town, which we already knew, and Pod plus Skull Woods, with the other 5/6 crystal being Vanilla Ice Palace. So we have double rods and Turtle Rock as a crystal. You'll love to see it. So at this point, Kuchiri is going to go into the Tower of Hera. He can do everything in here except kill the boss. And if he finds a hammer or sword in here, he can even do that. Meanwhile, Bob is only going to need 2 more trips after this one to have money for Zora. Kuchiri is taking a forced tile room break here, as he is choosing to grab the big key and not Harapot. And frankly, I 100% agree with the decision not to use the Harapot trick, considering he can't kill Moldorm. And Kuchiri is just spending his break, swinging a non-existent sword. I'm not actually sure. I mean, it looks pretty cool, but I'm not actually sure he can go right off this peg, which chat's also calling out. Nope. So he got the iframes, but he's got to hit the switch again. And Dr. Bob, 500 rupees, taking his save and quit to go to Zora. He'll either do Hobo first or second, probably first, because in general you want to be able to save and quit if nothing's on the ledge. But that was a very long rupee farming session for Dr. Bob. And Kuchiri actually just got the big key and said no. So he's going to go to the east side of the mountain. Okay, so Dr. Bob is going to get his gloves. May or may not be crying inside when he sees them, just because of how much they would have sped up the rupee farm between the ability to Houlihan and the 50 rupee cave out by the desert. But nothing of note in the first 2 chests of Paradox Cave, just 5 more. Using the hook shot to take out the Moldorms before hitting the switch. Decent accuracy there, but has to actually hit the switch before you can get to the chests. And nothing of note yet. Silver arrows. His first bottle, actually. And Zora money. So Dr. Bob's got his eyes shrugged. I don't know what Kuchiri was doing there. Guess he's not going to bomb jump it, he's just going to go out normally. But yeah, once Dr. Bob walks his way up to Zora, we'll see just how worthwhile that rupee farming really was for him. If this is something like the hammer or the moon pearl, then it's big. If it's pretty much anything else, at worst, Kuchiri can combo it in with catfish. Kuchiri takes a death to those dead rocks, trying to see what's on the floating island. DoctorBobtastic gets, what is that? I don't even know what percent that is return, but he gets a bad return. Feels bad, man, on both sides. And where's Kuchiri gonna go now with Eastern Clear? Looks like Kuchiri is gonna go pay Zora. I'll say, yeah, 4% is accurate. I just didn't do the math in my head, but Kuchiri about to go get his 4% return. Dr. Bob gonna be on his way up the mountain. I'm trying to think of locations at this point. There's Agina's Cave, there's the back 3 of Escape, there's Spiral Cave, and there's whatever's in Hera. I think that covers it for... actually, Kuchiri got the boots, and those are like a fetch quest of Bonk Rocks as well. So, starting to run out of locations. Still need 2 items to get to the Dark World, though. So there's gotta be progression coming up soon. And Kuchiri just takes a hard reset after that Zora, not even saving his game. So I'm thinking this will probably be Bonk Rocks in the back of Escape for Kuchiri, but no, it's just back of Escape. So this is going to be 2 new items and a small key. Dr. Bob has not seen these yet. He's going to have to save and quit out of here, at which point his options are going to be Bonk Rocks, Agina, or back to the mountain. And I guess Kuchiri has not done the castle itself yet, so he's still got that on the table, and he's taking this to the Dark Cross. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes, but we've already seen this item on Dr. Bob's side. We know it's not anything of note. Nice use of the hook shot to kill the key rat and grab the key from a full screen away, though. Now, Dr. Bob is saying no to Hera entirely. Not even in a chance at a free item in the basement cage. Which, we know that's... He's going to have to sit through the tile room to get upstairs unless he knows and wants to Hera pot. So that's not unreasonable at all. Now it's going to be the castle for Kuchiri. But at this point, I'm most excited to see what's in Spiral Cave. Just remember, Kuchiri died trying to get to that location. So if the progression's in there, it's going to be a little bit sad. And just to answer chat, Herapot, if you have the big key, Herapot saves a few seconds, assuming you do it reasonably quickly. It's slow if you have to buffer it a lot. But in this seed, since the big key was in the basement, you would be skipping that big key, which means that you would be skipping the big chest, which means that you are skipping one of exactly 2 locations that the progression could be in Tower of Hera, considering we cannot kill Moldworm yet. Triple bombs on the floating island. Dr. Bob getting bullied by Dead Rocks too, but he's turning around for that fairy under the Bonk Rock pile, and it's... there it is. So now we're going to get to see the check Kuchiri missed earlier. And it is not Spiral Cave. That's just a piece of heart. So, Agina, Bonk Rocks, upstairs Tower of Hera. Those are your choices for progression at this point. And it looks like Dr. Bob is choosing Hera, as the Bonk Rocks are just armor. Kuchiri is going to run it down to Kakariko to check the sick kid as well, since he's got bottles now. But... oh, is he checking Lumberjack, which he never did earlier now that he has the boots? Yeah, Kuchiri never checked the Lumberjack earlier. He has boots now, so he's going to do that. And yeah, bunny music jams are over. How sad. So at this point, once Dr. Bob finishes Tile Room and Kuchiri finishes Sick Kid, the only check difference that they'll have over each other is Kuchiri will have Bonk Rocks, Dr. Bob will have Spiral Cave. And that's it. They're complete parity otherwise. So I'm hoping to see Kuchiri go to Agena after this. But could go back up the mountain as well. Dr. Bob does not get the invincibility frames off the peg there, but he is inside it, so he doesn't have to worry about hitting that switch a second time. And trying to use the boomerang to knock out tiles is a little hard. He's gonna drink his potion just to make sure he doesn't take an untimely death. So yeah, we're gonna be on parity for about 5 or 10 seconds here. Enjoy it while it lasts. Because I have to imagine Dr. Bob's going upstairs at this point. And he is going to attempt to show us the Harapot. While Agena's cave is just a shield. Kuchiri's got to make his way back up to the Tower of Hera, and fast. But Dr. Bob does get his Harapot and a quick check right upstairs. So, 2 potential items to be found here. At least, yep, there's 1. And there's 2. Dark World access. And yeah, Kuchiri is headed over to the east side of the mountain. Gonna be doing Spiral Cave first. Gonna be losing time. Just because we know that ain't it, Chief. But really, Kuchiri was in Hera before. He got the big key even out of the basement. And he just said nope after getting that. Didn't want... Like, it was guaranteed 1 item, potential for 2, and he just didn't want it. Meanwhile, Dr. Bob back on the east side of the mountain, taking those mitts to the Dark World here. Kuchiri getting bopped around by the enemies in Spiral Cave. 2 checks here, 4 checks in Hookshot Cave, knowledge of the Turtle Rock Medallion. Both runners getting a refill at basically the same time. Quake and Super Bunny Cave leads me to believe this is a key under the door situation, and that's going to open up Turtle Rock. But no, it is the 1 medallion we don't have. It's Bombos. So, gonna have to find that somewhere. Hookshot Cave being about... Okay, never mind. That's a Book of Medora. So that's a full clearable Desert Palace. And that'll let Dr. Bob route in Agina fairly nicely. Where's he gonna go now? I think he wants to do Spiral Cave, but friend, you can't do that without a hammer. Can't do Hera either. Still no weapon. Oh, he's gonna check the Ether tablet. Right. He can read the tablet, he just cannot get the item. Move along. Move along. And just recap for chat, Blue Mail was in the Bonk Rocks, which is like the only thing Kuchiri has done that Dr. Bob has not, besides Agina. Ooh, Kuchiri hookshots into the chest, right into the spark, takes a fall, gonna have to go back again to get his mitts. Does have his pearl though, so not that far off from being able to join Dr. Bob in the Dark World. And that's going to be the save and quit from Kuchiri. So Dr. Bob could go into Thieves Town if he wanted to. He does not have anything to kill Blind with, though, so that's a bit questionable. A lot of people love shying away from that dungeon without the hammer specifically, let alone any weapons at all. But he's going right in. He's not even checking the C-shaped house or the brewery first. Kuchiri only finds the blue boomerang in King's Tomb. So it's got to be to the Dark World for him now. Meanwhile, Dr. Bob about to get to the third chest of the front floor of Thieves Town. He's found some cash and some big key. And that's a small key. So last item is a map. So just one item in the front floor of Thieves Town. That feels pretty bad. But mirror means he is right out. And he's just going to check the other two village locations. Okay, where's Dr. Bob going? Skull Woods? As he is skipping the brewery here. Oh, he's going all the way over to the Graveyard Ledge. And checking the bumper ledge while he's at the area. Okay, no need for a cape this seed. But yeah, he's going to get Graveyard Ledge. He's going to mirror to the Bonk Rocks here, and he's going to mirror to King's Tomb at the end of it. Kuchiri is showing us that there is nothing left in the Village of Outcasts to be found unless it's in the back of Thieves Town. But he is choosing to skip the dungeon entirely for the time being. Not going into a dungeon that he cannot clear. Gonna just go for the dig game instead. One dig for a heart piece. I mean, you'll take it, but where's a hammer? Where's a sword? Even where's a cane? Send help, friends. We need it. Kuchiri is taking the direct route from the Village of Outcasts to Hype Cave. And if he so chooses afterwards, he can swim over to the Pyramid of Power and the Catfish. Meanwhile, Dr. Bob is checking King's Tomb here. Chat has raised the possibility that he goes to Catfish himself afterwards. He can swim from the north. That is very possible as well. But that also remains to be seen. And Dr. Bob is skipping out on Catfish for now, going to make his way back to the village where he's got the brewery and then he's got the rest of the South Dark World loop to catch up with Kuchiri at Hype Cave. So 5 items in here. That's the Bombos medallion. We do need that for Turtle Rock. Chat bringing up a good point is Kuchiri finds a sword that Kuchiri did walk right by the smiths despite having the mirror and the mitts. So where's that sword going? Is Kuchiri gonna go for the first chest of Swamp Palace? Yes, Kuchiri is making the play into Swamp Palace, hoping for a hammer. Meanwhile, Dr. Bob is turning himself around after the big game. He's going to grab and turn in that smith, then escort the purple chest throughout the Dark World, at least until he gets down to turn it in. Dr. Bob does not have the hammer, so there will be no hammer pegs. But he will turn in the smith and receive some currently unknown reward for it. Just 10 arrows. So now he'll just go back to the Dark World where he'll find the purple chest. And that's a big key that Kuchiri cannot use. So at this point, it looks like it's gonna be back to the Dark World for Kuchiri. He can full clear Skull Woods for a pendant plus 2 items if he's comfortable with his fighter sword plus half magic Mothula fight. Meanwhile, Dr. Bob has to finish making his way around to Hype Cave where he'll have the extra purple chest turn in before he does that. And Dr. Bob also has the entirety of Desert Palace available with the Book of Medora he found on the Dark Mountain. Kuchiri gonna need to go back up the mountain one more time before he can find that. First check of Skull Woods is the big key. He can take that. Okay, so he's not going to bomb jump to it. Probably going to fall in the back and do it the intended strat. Dr. Bob has abandoned his chest, but no need to fear. As soon as he mirrors, he will turn it in anyways. So big chest for a small key, and now he can take it around to the right side of, or the left side of the front, though he's choosing not to. Dropping down in the pit instead. While the purple chest was just more arrows for Dr. Bob. Bombo's tablet cannot be gotten, but can be read. And nice joke. So there's one item in Skullwoods, 50 rupees. And by going to the right here, Dr. Bob Kuchiri can try to get the second item out of the pinball room. Except it's probably not an item because that's how this works. But it is an item, it's the magic cape. Hey guys, we can go kill Aghanim now. But we're not going to do that, there's literally no reason to anymore. But that is 2 items out of Skullwood, so no reason to go any further in that dungeon for Kuchiri. He can just check the graveyard ledge and the bumper ledge, and then potentially make his way over to Catfish and the Pyramid. Dr. Bob is swimming over to the Palace of Darkness area, from where he will check the pyramid. Kuchiri is actually going to get that heart container on the bumper ledge. A few seconds spent for a little bit of extra safety. I can respect that if you think you need it. And now Dr. Bob showing us that the pyramid ledge is a bug net. Gonna grab it. Let's him capture fairies. I believe that walking Spike Cave with the hookshot takes like 13 hearts, but he does have the cape and half magic, so that does not matter. Of course, there can be no Spike Cave play without a hammer. That just does not work. And Dr. Bob is showing us the last dark overworld check that we can get with the catfish. This location has burned many a runner in the past. And you could make the case that it's burning Dr. Bob here. But I don't think that Kuchiri is going to be skipping it at this point. Nope, he is going east as well. So at this point, the overworld's pretty tapped out. Dr. Bob can go to Desert if he wants to, or both runners can go to Palace of Darkness where they can get everything except the boss kill. And it's a pendant dungeon. Could also clear Hera, but considering it's not a 5/6 crystal and there are no items left in it, I would hope both runners will leave that to their last dungeon clear. And then could clear Thieves Town for between 3 and 4 items total, plus a green pendant. But without the hammer, you risk isolating one in the big chest. And while I was getting all of that laid out, DoctorBobtastic has chosen the Palace of Darkness. So this is minimum 4 items, potentially 5. Depends on whether Helmasaur has one. And Chad's asking about Ped. Ped cannot be reached without the hammer because we cannot reach Helmasaur without the hammer. However, once the hammer is found, Ped is in logic and can be pretty much anything. Though when I say it can be pretty much anything, we only need the hammer, the flute, and the cane of Samaria for Go mode, and that Master Sword that Dr. Bob just found. So we are not actually that far away. It just feels really slow because no hammer, no flute. Looks like it's going to be Palace of Darkness for Kuchiri as well. So at this point, I don't think Kuchiri's got anything in hand that Dr. Bob hasn't done yet. So he's really going to be relying on good execution and maybe smarter dungeon routing to catch up and take a lead here. But gonna have to see how that goes for him because he also has not been to Dark Death Mountain. That could come into play if the flute is in Desert Palace or if Quake opens Misery Mire. Meanwhile, Dr. Bob is taking the long walk back. You have the mirror, man. So this is an opportunity for Kuchiri to save some time if he just mirrors out away from those left side checks. But we've still only seen one item in pod. 2 of these 3 chests in the front have to be keys. So now if Dr. Bob knows his game, he would know that both the drop-down chest and the vanilla big key chest are both keys. So that's why he's skipping them for now. There's 1 key. If there are no small keys in this rupee basement, then that means that the Harmless Hellway is also a small key. And yes, the Harmless Hellway is a small key, the Vanilla Big Key chest is a small key, and the Stalfos basement is also a small key. Looks to me like Dr. Bob knows his pod key logic, so he is going straight for the maze. And Kuchiri grabbing health refill out of this fairy room. And Kuchiri taking a second to remember he has the mirrors. Dr. Bob finds the flute. That's good news for Kuchiri because it means he's not losing out on anything by not having that book. However, could still be missing out on that Wake medallion. And Kuchiri is going back for the drop-down chest. No, Kuchiri not knowing his pod keys. I'm going to have to teach him that at some point. Meanwhile, Dr. Bob, actually, I forgot he hadn't done these checks, but he is finally dropping back in for the quick back of escape checks. And yes, the Bombos medallion was in Hype Cave. DoctorBobtastic does have it. So if Kuchiri knows his bomb jumps here, he'll have an extra small key. He could hammer jump and only have to go through the dark maze backwards, but then that wouldn't even save time over Dr. Bob, who still only had to go through it one way and just mirror it out. And with the flute activated for Dr. Bob, the Mire area is the logical next stop. So we'll see if that's what it is, though. And yes, that's what it is. Dr. Bob not showing us what medallion opens Misery Mire. Which, sure, he has all three, but I would really like to know right about now. And just to recap for chat, Bombos was in Hype Cave. DoctorBobtastic does have it, so... Only trash on the ledge. I believe Kuchiri saw that before, but here's going to be the Desert Palace clear for Dr. Bob. 2 items, plus a 5/6 crystal. That means 2 chances at Hammer, 2 chances at Cave. And the small key. Don't really care about the logical boot slot because boots were pretty free. But it does mean that we did have to have them to get any items. And there's 1 item. So Desert Palace still has 1 item. We are exactly 2 items from Go Mode. Cane of Samaria plus Hammer. And Dr. Bob is skipping out on the Desert Big Chest for now, hoping that Wayne Molas has the item. If it doesn't, I'm sure we'll see him just go right back in. And unfortunately for chat's wildest dreams, we have already seen the first chest of Swamp Palace. It was not the Hammer. And Misery Mire is Quake. Doesn't really come into play right now unless Kuchiri was planning to go in without the Cane of Samaria, but Kuchiri does need to get up to the Dark Mountain for that medallion. And Kuchiri is going to show us the checkerboard cave before Desert Palace. Dr. Bob is entering the boss room. And yeah, that Quake medallion is a little unlucky for Kuchiri there, because it does mean he has to go to the mountain again. Dr. Bob only gets 2 silvers on the first cycle of Wayne Mola, but nails the 3rd as soon as it peeks his head out, and he's going to have to go back for the big chest. Or choose to leave the item behind, his prerogative. Dr. Bob is not choosing to abandon the item. And just to recap for chat a bit, both runners have gone back into Tower of Hera. The 2 items in there were the Mitts and the Moon Pearl. So kind of a required dip. Just a heart container in the big chest of Desert Palace. So that wasn't the answer. And at this point, wondering what the runners are going to decide to do. There are options at this point. I think Kuchiri has seen both items in Skull Woods, but Dr. Bob is not. Dr. Bob has done the first floor of Thieves Town, but Kuchiri has not touched it yet. And then there's Hammerless Ice Palace, and Dr. Bob has the option of Caneless Misery Mire as well. Meanwhile, Dr. Bob, getting his Mirror Shield out of the Gina, gonna run out instead of saving and quitting, because saving and quitting is slow. Except then he goes and saves and quits anyways. So, Dr. Bob, your move. What is it? It's the Dark World. Could be Skull Woods, could be Thieves Town, could be both, because we know Skull Woods isn't the answer. So any Skull Woods play is almost certain to lead directly into a Thieves Town play. And yes, we did see both items in Skull Woods earlier. We know there's nothing else in there. And with Kuchiri being just about done with the desert, shot that arrow too soon and Landmole is short hopped. So he's going to just switch over to the Fire Rod and just not kill him again this time. There we go. That's Landmole is down for Kuchiri, and that makes 2 crystals each. And Kuchiri has a choice ahead of him now. Where does he go? He's got the aforementioned dungeons plus Dark Death Mountain. And it's going to be the mountain for Kuchiri, choosing that over the pendant dungeons or the unclearable crystals. He'll get his Quake Medallion out of this. He'll get his book. We know the book doesn't really lead into anything unless Cane of Samaria is on Ped, and that lets him check it. Dr. Bob has both his items out of Skull Woods. Kuchiri, where are you going? Don't tell me you're going to Spike Cave, please. You can't do this, Kuchiri. And Dr. Bob going to take a few seconds to learn whether the Cane of Samaria will require 3 pendants to acquire. No, just red mail. Now where to for Dr. Bob? He did flute back to 3. That's going to be the Dark World, and it's looking like Thieves Town for him this time. Yeah, so Dr. Bob has already done the front 4 here. Only 1 item there, so still between 2 and 3 more to find depending on what's in the big chest. Meanwhile, Kuchiri has his Mire entry now. Gonna grab his book shortly. Probably check into Ether Tablet after that. there's that Book of Medora. So he's going to walk out of here. He's going to dash across, use the mirror to check that tablet, then be on his way to somewhere. And at this point, it's looking like Kuchiri is going to need to gamble of some sort here to get back on parity of checks. Well, gamble and have it be correct. But we did see an item in Thieves Town, and it was nothing. So, what's the play next from Kuchiri? Okay, this is going to be a Thieves Town play from Kuchiri as well. So, just following Dr. Bob's footsteps still. And there is Dr. Bob's 15th heart. Kuchiri is on 16 somehow. But there's now a 50-50 on whether there's an item on blind or an item in the big chest. Of course, blind technically has an item regardless, courtesy of that green pendant. But, oh well. The good news here is that this means blind can't be holding the hammer with something in that big chest. Mirror Shield doing absolute work in this fight for Dr. Bob. And that's blind down. Survey says a compass. So unless it's Sahasrara, the progression is not Thieves Town. So, Dr. Bob, once again, your move. What is it? What you gonna do? Chat saying green pendant cannot be hammer. That is not correct, because we had the small key to Thieves Town. The attic and blind are not hammer locked. Dr. Bob is going to immediately turn it in. And it's just the 10 bomb pack. So pick your not clearable crystal dungeon. Dr. Bob is choosing Misery Mire. Meanwhile, Kuchiri is in the back of Thieves Town, still got a few more things to do before he can kill blind and be forced into a decision of his own here. And Swamp Palace first chest is not the play. Kuchiri has already done that. It was only a big key. And it's looking like a 2-cycle Mire 2 for Dr. Bob with just sword beams. Pretty solid. Never going to turn that one down. And first chest Thieves Town, or not Thieves Town, but Misery Mire, just a small key. Second chest of mire, there it is, there's the hammer. However, that does not let us clear this dungeon. It does mean that we can go full clear Ice Palace, but unless the Cane of Samaria is the second item in here, still gonna have to bail. And there's blind down for Kuchiri, and he's going to have to make the same Swamp Mire choice, or not Swamp Mire, Ice Mire choice very shortly. Oh, Kuchiri has not yet done the Smith Chain, so that's another thing that he's going to have to do. He can do it fairly quickly with the mirror plus the flute, although he will be isolating the Bombos tablet, which we know has nothing if he chooses to flute instead of block it. Unfortunately for Dr. Bob, it looked like nothing on the Firelock side of Misery Mire. And Kuchiri is just fluting that chest. And Dr. Bob has found the second item in Mire. He did not grab the big key, so he will have to do that on a return trip. But he has both items. He has the hammer, the second one's junk. Now he can choose between ice and swamp. And if you choose correctly, your reward is getting to go mode the other one. If you choose wrong, gonna wind up clearing both. And Dr. Bob is choosing ice. And yeah, chat's bringing up there are numerous hammer locations that are not dungeons. There's something like... There's Spike Cave that's being mentioned, there's the Hammer Pegs. There is not Turtle Rock because of the Cane of Samaria. But there is the Thieves' Town Big Chest. I do not recall if Helmasaur had an item, but very well may have. Dr. Bob is using Quake to kill all the Pengators. Fun fact, Ether does not kill those things. So if you're playing this randomizer casually, do not do that, please. Now Kuchiri's got to make his decision finally. And he doesn't know which one he wants to make. He's turning in the green pendant, and then he'll make his choice. Anyways, while Dr. Bob makes his way through Ice Palace, for anybody who's looking for a fun time with this game, try hammer dashing on ice. Great times, I assure you. Okay, it's Dr. Bob going for the Ice Palace Bomb Jump. Fairly standard speedrun tech for this game. Looks like a good lineup. Yep, clean. First try every time. And Kuchiri is choosing Ice Palace. This is very unfortunate for him because we know that the hammer is in Misery Mire. So he's going to be forced to abandon this dungeon fairly quickly. No, not even fairly quickly. He can get as far in as the Iced Tea Room. So yeah, this decision absolutely not going to work out for Kuchiri, because even if he finds the Cane of Samaria in here and takes it straight to Meyer, Dr. Bob's going to find it as well and be in go mode. Dr. Bob gonna bomb jump across this pit. That'll let him get to either the iced tea room or the right side of the dungeon, his choice. Got a hook shot through all the jellies in this room, and he's clean through to the right side of the dungeon. Kuchiri getting a bit bounced around, unable to get on the switch there. But here's half of the hammer stuff that would be blocking Kuchiri from getting all the items in this dungeon. Those little whack-a-mole peg-looking things do require the hammer to knock down. Cannot get past them otherwise. I believe that is 2 items in Ice Palace now, only 1 left to be found. And Dr. Bob is going for the iced tea room. If you're wondering why that room is so named, tilt your head 90 degrees to the left and look at it. Yeah, pretty sure I've seen 2 pieces of heart in Ice Palace. There were 2 on the right side, I believe. And then the big key in the freezer chest, small key in the first chest. And yeah, with that iced tea check, Dr. Bob only has 2 checks left for, I believe, 1 item. Gonna check the big chest first. And Cold Stare has an item. Meanwhile, Kuchiri cannot continue up those stairs for anything of value because he does not have the hammer. So at this point, he's stuck. He cannot go any further. If he retreats this way, he's going to get locked in the jelly room that you normally have to hookshot through. He's done in this dungeon. I guess he could mirror and go back in, but at this point, that's really not worth it. But he's choosing to. And yeah, we've seen all the keys in this dungeon, I believe, so Cold Stare, not Samaria locked. Dr. Bob does get it down for just a 3rd piece of heart, though. Not Ice Palace. And Kuchiri is redoing the dungeon so that he can get to the iced tea chest and freezer chest that he previously was not able to get. And to answer chat, no, Kuchiri does not have the hammer. Has not been to Misery Mire yet. Meanwhile, Dr. Bob is skipping out on Swamp Palace for the time being, going to the Pyramid Fairy instead. There is a chance the Cane is here. Ice Palace key logic says that Cold Stare Samaria locked if and only if Cold Stare has a small key, which it did not. And there's another bomb jump for Kuchiri, but knowing that he's going to have to bail on this dungeon anyways after 3 more checks, excuse me, because he will find the big key. Yeah. It unfortunately does not accomplish much for him. So basically, if you're a friend or fan of Kuchiri at this point, like I am, because I never said this before, but he's on the same team I am for the league, what you want to see him do is go to Mire, get the hammer, and then get the cane out of somewhere weird like Swamp Palace or not Swamp Palace Big Chest, but like Thieves Town Big Chest, without full clearing Swamp first, or coming back to Ice. And without Dr. Bob doing exactly that same check. Which at some point, gonna run out of checks. So this is really rough position for Kuchiri to be in here. But he is walking around to the iced tea where he'll make his last check of the dungeon and learn that it was all for naught. He's a little stuck. Could try swinging his sword, or dashing will get him out of that position. Okay, so gonna be off to Mire with Kuchiri here. Dr. Bob is into Swamp. To just answer chat, the bug net was on the pyramid ledge. Kuchiri saw it, said no. Also, yeah, full disclosure, like I said, I am on the same team as Kuchiri here, so I am obviously rooting for him to win, but especially since I'm the only person commentating this race tonight, I'm trying to provide a balanced and unbiased commentary for all of you to better enjoy the race. And Kuchiri is a great guy. And while I'm on that note, follow these runners on Twitch. Twitch.tv/DoctorBobtastic, Twitch.tv/TheKuchiri. Links are in Twitch chat. Because they are here, they are giving you guys the show. They're playing through this nonsense seed just so that you guys have something to enjoy tonight, and they're doing the best they can with it. Meanwhile, on Dr. Bob's side, we have yet to see anything of real value in Swamp Palace. And cash has a lot of value, but that's the value right there. DoctorBobtastic is in go mode at 1 hour, 28 and a half minutes. So yeah, Swamp Palace was it. And Dr. Bob doesn't have to stress over the left side or pretty much anything else. He's just gotta go. Kuchiri's got his hammer, but he is going to clear the rest of the dungeon hoping Samaria's in here and be disappointed. And then after that, it remains to be seen whether he goes back to clean up Ice Palace or if he'll choose Swamp first. If he chooses Swamp first, then he can go mode what remains of Ice. That'll save him a little bit of time, but he is, at this point, quite far behind. Kuchiri getting shot in the back a couple times by the fireball shooter that is entirely controlled by your sword swings. Dr. Bob going for double pull spin strats and getting a couple of them there. Although pulling the same puff twice, not the most helpful thing in the world when you're aiming for two. That's a bit cleaner. And yeah, the cross four-direction fireball shooters, they shoot whenever you swing your sword. Or if you dash, they constantly shoot. That's how those work. So Kuchiri got shot in the back twice because he swung his sword twice with his back to the shooter. As Dr. Bob plunks a single silver arrow into Argus, gets a green rupee for his trouble. So Dr. Bob now on 4 crystals, presumably going to go clear Mire first, and then clean up the mountain dungeons and head into Ganon's Tower. And Kuchiri is straight to Swamp Palace, so he's not very far from go mode, but he will be a full Ice Palace clear behind. Just to clarify on the fireball shooters, it's only the ones that are like cross-shaped and shoot in one of 4 different directions and never shoot on diagonals. That kind is the only one that is controlled by Link swinging his sword. All the others just shoot at set intervals and shoot towards wherever Link happens to be standing at that moment. Like the one that DoctorBobtastic just dashed past is not one of the ones controlled by the sword. But Dr. Bob, is he... I don't know why he hit that switch. He did not... Oh, Dr. Bob did not get the big key on his first trip through Misery Mire, that's right. So he needs to go get it now. And it's obviously in this chest because he checked everything else. So Dr. Bob into the downstairs room of Mire, the room with the single most finicky switch in the game. The hitbox here is a little screwy. And it did look like Dr. Bob was setting up for a spooky with that, so... And got it. So that's going to be a bit of a time save for him. Kuchiri is choosing to check the southern chest of Swamp before the big chest. So he'll get the monetary value, just not the real value. And Dr. Bob is about to plink, what is it, 13 silver arrows into a bunch of eyeballs? No, 11. Well, missing one, so now it's 12. Now it's 13. Now it's 14. And that is gonna be 5 crystals for DoctorBobtastic. Just Turtle Rock and Power of Hair to go. And Kuchiri did get his Cane of Samaria, so he is also in go mode. Has to just clean up Swamp Palace, go back, clean up Ice Palace as well. And then he'll be off to the mountain for those dungeons as well. Turtle Rock here is the dungeon that Dr. Bob's going to. Well known as the last crystal dungeon in this game by any metric except occasionally the randomizer. Crystal number 7, the most difficult one, the last one the speedrun does, the last one casual does, so on and so forth. It's a split where speedrunners, in my experience, tend to lose a lot of time relative to their golds. Even if you look at the top tier runners, guys like Zelda and whatnot, they can have some less than ideal turtle rocks, even when they look good. So we'll see what Dr. Bob does here and whether he struggles with it or if he can play it clean. But just as a fan of good execution, I'm hoping to see him play it clean. Kuchiri's been going for slash strats on the Argus buffs, not trying for the double spins like Dr. Bob was. Is a little bit faster to nail the silver arrow into the main body of Argus. So, first check Turtle Rock. Probably a small key, but could be pretty much anything. Is a small key. And then the Fire Rod lock side. Again, decent odds at keys, be it small or big, but could have even just map compass here in the worst case. And Kuchiri is going to go back and just go mode clear Ice Palace, which I say go mode, he has already half cleared it in a search for the hammer earlier. And yep, big key, small key in the fire side. And Dr. Bob will be on to the chain chomps. Now, let's see how he handles the pokey here. Gonna just pull out the fire rod and, yeah, burn it down. Because with a tempered sword, you can kill that thing in 2 spins. But with the master sword, no, it doesn't work. Chain Chomp's knocking Dr. Bob out of his iframe setup. He is not having a fun time here. Yeah, he needs to bait these out to safety before he can make that chest appear. And they only push one way. Dr. Bob is well and truly trapped at this point. But looks like he's gotten around it. As long as he doesn't fall victim to Chain Chomp RNG, and he is good. On Kuchiri's side, he's going to do this bomb jump again. Think that's good position. Yep. And Dr. Bob is downing his blue potion before the key pokey. which this is a very underrated room for danger. Just because those floating skull heads hurt, the eye laser hurts, there's a bunny beam to prevent you from doing things, but he does get through it without taking damage. And double pokies here, just gonna fire rod them both. And he will be off to the big chest. Presumably skipping the Mimic Cave, as there could be a sword in there, and I have to imagine both of these guys would like to have a sword at this point. But Dr. Bob is go-moding it, skipping the Mimic Cave. Also, yes, not dying is a very, very strong strat. I certainly recommend it to anybody who's playing this game, regardless of skill level. Okay, so Dr. Bob could, if he's full go-moding, he can skip this chest and the entirety of Laser Bridge. Now he can definitely skip the entirety of Laser Bridge. Kuchiri's pretty close to Cold Stare Down. I think just, yeah, one more hit there does it. So that's 4 crystals for him. He's still got to go back and finish Meyer, though, and then he's got to get up the mountain, so still significantly behind. Mirror Shield causes those lasers to just tank, as long as it's actually facing them. I believe that was Map and Compass first 2 chests. That's pretty sad. That's cash. And that's a refill. So DoctorBobtastic has exactly 1 shot at a Tempered Sword before going into Ganon's Tower. Because there are no more items to be found in Tower of Hera, but we know Trinex has an item. So that's 1 chance. And his Samaria block got eaten by that anti-fairy, so it wasn't able to hit both switches. That was a little bit sad. So, how's Dr. Bob going to approach this fight? Is he comfortable with his hammer strats, or is he going to go for the Master Sword? With half magic, you can go pretty much whatever strat you want here, but still going to be, looks like a hammer fight. I like this. Let's see if he can get the Fire Rod menu. Yes, he does. Very nice, Dr. Bob. Well executed. Taking a lot of damage, but that is Ice Head down now. So as long as the second phase doesn't go too off the rails, that'll be pretty clean for Dr. Bob. Switching to hammer for this. Does get 1 hit in. Dies before he can drink the blue potion, and he didn't take safety door. So that's going to set him back about half the dungeon. Yeah, that's still not going to be enough for Kuchiri to overturn this. But if you're rooting for Kuchiri here, well, it doesn't hurt. Let's put it that way. Also, like I said earlier, dying, somebody mentioned death warps in response, and death warps are a thing, but in general, not dying, very strong strat. Strongly recommend. So Kuchiri back into the back of Meyer. Does not have a spooky setup, so he's going to have to spend a few extra seconds here bombing the wall. And then he'll be pretty close to the Vitreous fight himself. And that missed hammer hit is going to be a little costly for Dr. Bob here. Yeah, that fire head is still alive. And he can't get the menu either, because the ice rod shot is what killed it. Yeah, this is a bit of a tough situation for Dr. Bob. He is playing it very safe this time. Yeah, as I say, that takes a hit. Kuchiri trying to get the arrows in. Dr. Bob downing his blue potion. And that's 5 crystals for Kuchiri. Dr. Bob is in a good position now to take out Trinex for his 6th. Is going for hammer hits and having more luck with them this time, going from the side, and that's Trinex down. 6 crystals for DoctorBobtastic. Okay, Kuchiri, is he going to choose to do Hera first? Because he's going up as if he's going to mirror. Meanwhile, Dr. Bob pulling out his mirror does remember that he does still have to actually kill Moldorm before this tower will open up for him. And he's looking to set up a Herapot, using that bonk to set himself in position to almost place a bomb. I think he's got to slide like 1 pixel, and then doesn't have the setup there, so got to reset himself. Yeah, 3rd attempt. That should be good. Yeah, and Dr. Bob is upstairs. So, since this is only going to last about 4 or 5 seconds, I'm going to say it now. As soon as Dr. Bob kills Moldorm, we're going to start the Ganon's Tower Big Key guessing game. You're going to have until he enters the tower to get your guesses in, and that's only going to last a few seconds. So, have your guesses ready for when the game starts. Don't get ahead of yourselves. Dr. Bob has an enraged Moldorm. And that is Moldorm down for DoctorBobtastic. So 7 crystals. Chat's already doing it. And he's just got to turn around, hit his mirror portal, and cutscene. Meanwhile, Kuchiri gonna get his big key, small key out of the right side of Turtle Rock, and he'll be on his way. Okay, Ganon's Tower. 2 things we're looking for here. The big key and ideally a 3rd sword. There's a small key. Dr. Bob not taking it to the right side. going to go the traditional Hope Room into full left route. And there it is. So that's going to take Ganon's tower routing out of any potential comeback mechanism for Kuchiri there. And shoutouts to Roundish Stone, who was the first one to guess that the big key would be number 3. Silver arrows do very nice things to mimics. Silver arrows still doing very nice things to mimics once they get the shot lined up. And yeah, barring some kind of weird accident at this point, DoctorBobtastic should be finishing this seed pretty cleanly under 2 hours. Kuchiri checking the lava chest. I guess there could be a sword here. There's a sword there. So that's going to save a little bit of time on the first couple phases again, for sure, and make the third a fair bit more convenient because he will not be forced to rely on spins, but it is not going to make up the time difference unless something happens. Meanwhile, the conveyor belt's helping give these enemies the runaround for Dr. Bob here. They're just kind of avoiding him, but he does knock both of those red ones into the spikes, which makes him die in one hit, even though he's only on Master Sword. Remember, knocking enemies into spikes makes them take more damage, unless they're Mothula. Don't do that. There's Landmola's 2 down clean. And Bob is pulling out the Samaria. Samaria kills Wizrobes in one hit, and they almost line up really nicely so that you can almost kill them all in one shot, even in that second room, but they're not the perfect cross formation to actually make that happen. And there's torches lit. Dr. Bob does need to kill these mini Helmosaurs or get a small key out of one of these chests. Yeah, he knows he's got to kill them. And Dr. Bob is in the pre-Moldorm room as Kuchiri took a death. I was a bit too focused on the Ganon's tower climb and didn't actually see where that was. He had the safety door, so that must have been a death to Trinex. One spin. Oh, an intentional death for him, I guess, to health refill. Okay, I can respect intentional deaths. Dr. Bob did take the fall, but now there's one spin. There's 2 spin. And 3 spin. Moldorm 2 down. Just Agatu and Ganon left for DoctorBobtastic. And here's Trinex for Kuchiri. Sword is a lot more convenient than the hammer just because you don't have to menu. But since he did not menu to the fire rod, Ice Head still gets its shot off. And it is 5 slashes either way. And that's Ice Head down for Kuchiri. Double, almost triple for Dr. Bob, but just slightly off, wasn't to be. So double single needs 3 more hits. 3 more hits. Needs 2 more now. And that's Aghanim 2 down for DoctorBobtastic. Quick little flute cutscene here, and he will be in to the last boss of the game. Meanwhile, on Kuchiri's side, 6 crystals, and a quick trip up Tower of Hair to knock out Moldorm, and he'll be into Ganon's Tower. So, a lot of spins here to get through each phase, and the Master Sword means it's a bit difficult. Although more than difficult, I think it's slow, especially if RNG doesn't favor you. It's like, if Ganon were just 1 tile away from the wall, then you could just continually rack up double spins, but he's not letting that happen, which means Dr. Bob has to burn his fairy. And he's still not getting favorable position. There's a favorable position for double spins, but Dr. Bob is choosing not to use it. And here's the best position for double spins. Just set yourself up in the corner and go to town. Just like this. And then Dr. Bob can either use the boots or the hook shot for iframes and get out. Almost just like that. And that's the first 2 phases down. 2 more spins, and then you will be able to turn Ganon blue and plunk the silvers in. Of course, if Ganon keeps warping, you can't hit him till he stops, just like that. Now, oh no, silver. That's gonna be 1 arrow. No torch glitch. Matters a lot less with silvers. Kuchiri has 7 crystals. Does not get the silver in there, so still on 1. Nice silverless hit. Unfortunately, not going to matter at all. And this should be a 2nd hit, but not a 3rd. And this should be a 3rd, but not a 4th. So Dr. Bob needs 1 more arrow into Ganon to put him down. And that's it. So as soon as the fanfare finishes and Dr. Bob crosses the bridge, he will be done with this race. GG's in chat for DoctorBobtastic. And yes, that is DoctorBobtastic finishing in first place with a time of 1 hour, 58 minutes, and 33 seconds. And then, yes, shortly afterwards, Kuchiri opted to forfeit from the race. So, hello, we've got both the runners here. DoctorBobtastic, congratulations on the win, and Kuchiri, GG, GG.
Oh,
Yeah, GG.
that was a seed.
Hey, when I die, put it on my gravestone. Hammers in Misery Mire.
I was just sitting there at the end, trying my my best to avoid Swamp Palace with every fiber of my being. The only thing I didn't do that I could have done before Swamp, I think, was Spike Cave.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Like maybe like the hammer pegs or something too, and like Thieves Town Big Chest.
Right.
But yeah, not a lot of locations left.
I just felt so bad that whole seed after last location Mid's Pearl. Like I was half debating going up there with Bo just to check. I was like, no, I don't have no way to kill Mulder. I'm not doing it. Just think, if I would have done that, I would have been feel so bad.
Yeah. Well, I did something kind of similar. Like I went up there and I actually checked the Spectacle Rock area first, which I didn't intend to do. I actually intended to just go over to Paradox Cave because I didn't have anything to beat Hera. I was like, okay, well, we'll see if we get like a sword or something over there. But I just did it anyway. It's like, hey, boots, sweet. And then I went over to Paradox Cave, did the thing, and I'm like, well, I should probably go to Hera because I've got basically nothing left except I think Agina's cave. And so yeah, we both took a while to get to Hera, I'm sure.
Well, no, I did Hera the first time I went up there, and like I got the big key, and I was about ready to go up to check the other chest, but then my mind was like, why should I go up there? I mean, my only weapon right now is the bow. Let's go check Paradox. Then I checked Paradox. I'm like, well, let's start checking one else. I had the money for Zora at that time. I had Agina. I had Pegasus Rocks. So I went all over, and then I was like, okay, well.
So it looks like Kuchiri managed to find a tempered sword.
Yeah, you walked right by
where that was.
Yeah.
And I am not salty at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I was going to 100% the seed. I can't do cannon with Master Sword. So I was like, oh wait, I could skip that lava chest. But sword, please be there.
Oh man.
Also, one thing
I was a little concerned about Cain or Hammer, well, not Hammer, but Cain on pedestal at one point. So I went up and checked that before going back into Thieves Town and Skull Woods. But anyway.
Yeah, there is one thing, Dr. Bob, your knowledge of pod key logic. I want to just give you props for that, getting it right.
Oh, yeah. I found that
done.
big key and I was like, yeah, we are not getting anything else in the front.
Yeah.
What was the other item in there? It was something important.
Flute. I found that flute.
Oh, and Master Sword. That was the first item, was Master Sword.
Oh, yes, that was also there.
So my thought when I got the flute was, I have to be at least 10 minutes ahead of Bob. I don't think he will have gone here yet.
I went to pod pretty early. I went as early as I think I could have reasonably done. Like I did first 4 at Thieves Town. I did like the Graveyard Ledge area and all that mess, and then I went down and around, did Smith Chain, junk like that, and then Hyde Cave into pod. I think I did Catfish first. Because yeah, pod was I was like, I've got the bow, probably wants me to go to pod, and I really don't want to have to go all the way back around to pod again without the hammer. So if we have like a vanilla hammer situation on our hands, I'm going to want to nip that in the bud pretty quickly.
Yeah, bow plus lamp relatively early on tends to be a reasonably strong indicator of Palace of Darkness, even more so than Eastern Palace in my experience. So good call there.
Yeah, but also shout outs to Lamp on Armos, LOL V31.
I like that change.
It's great.
How early did you do Armos?
The second after I started from Link's house. So I didn't start from Link's house because I don't ever start from Link's house. So I just went and did CAC, got over there. I got the bow in the race game, and then I went to Link's house, found the fire rod. I'm like, well, we're doing Eastern.
Yeah, so you were basically ahead of me the whole time.
I mean, the South Shore checks did pay off in required ways, too. You did have the gloves significantly before him. I think you said this in IRC, Dr. Bob, that you spent 5 minutes farming rupees in Blind's hideout for not following those flippers.
Yeah. Well, I was just like, I want to do Zora while I'm doing this, and I'm probably not going to get enough money along the way. And then, of course, the glove is at Hobo, and I could have used that to farm way faster because I'm a dumb. Anyway.
Yeah. And just having flippers plus no glove means no Houlihan, too. So it was just slow going, unfortunately.
Yeah. If I hadn't gotten the flippers, I would have been like, oh. Yeah. Like, I did the whole, like, I got the 90 rupees in Eastern because I was just like, I gotta do something here. And then, of course, as soon as I get to the Dark World, just money, 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 money everywhere. It's like, come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Anyway, we're coming up on the end of my screen here in a bit.
Yep. And speaking of the end, this match was the end of the Pyramid of Power division in the league for this week.
Aha.
Every team except Skullwood's Big Skip and What Are You Doing in My Swamp Palace went 1-1.
Yeah, we have a tight 6-way tie for second place right now.
Woo!
SW Big Skip.
Yeah, all tied with such big names as Link to the Past Randomizer Tournament Champion Jets team, who also went 1-1 this week and is in this division. So, not going to be easy for anybody going forward.
Nope, not easy at all.
So what's some good matchups coming into next week? Do you have the schedule pulled up?
If you give me like 30 seconds, I can.
All right, I'm in there already.
Okay, if you've got it, then yes, please.
Oh, of course they don't have their team names on there. Well, we got Jet versus DigiJude Friday the 13th at 8 o'clock. Of course, no one else put their team names on there. So it's like...
So, let's see. Jet and DigiJude, that's Andrana Drifters and...
What are you doing in my
else.
Swamp Palace?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find our Pyramid Power Division. Like Kartha Fid, how do you pronounce that name? Versus Fleck, Monday at 9. That'll be.
Hi, Karnath is your teammate, friend.
I know. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Karnath.
Karnath? Why is there a FD there? Karnath.
It's Karnath FD.
Oh, okay.
Then I believe I don't know if it's on the schedule yet, but I know I Am the Schwartz and Artie Walsh and Jamie Sher-Gloin have been talking about playing against each other for the matchup between the Broken Triforce and Tile Roomies. So those are going to be exciting matches to keep an eye on for sure.
There's a good chance I'll be taking the next week off, and it'll be Unknown and Dark Shadows playing in the Ambrosia week.
I am going to be making my return to competitive play next week. It's going to be a week from Saturday.
Good luck with that.
Thank you.
All right.
Also, this was a healthy seed, by the way.
Yeah. Good Lord. I'm on 18 hearts. And I'm pretty sure I skipped a full heart at one point.
On the bumper ledge, yes.
Yeah. And so all I'm missing is 4 heart pieces.
One. So yeah, I would have been 19 hearts if I would have finished out the seed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyways, I'd just like to take a sec to run down the schedule for tonight. Starting about 40 minutes ago, There was P-Train versus He's Just a Boy on twitch.tv/the ALTTPR League. And Tam versus HXC Jetters on Speed Gaming 5. Both of those matches currently in progress, started 30 to 40 minutes ago. And starting in about 50 minutes, we're going to have Lumaga versus Voranth on twitch.tv/the ALTTPR League 2. And that's going to be it for Rando tonight once that match concludes. Tomorrow, we've got several matches on the docket. Starting at 6:10 p.m. Eastern Time with Corality versus Wall Kicks. Days Cloud versus Sick Nasty 2 hours later. And then a few other matches to close out the evening. So keep an eye on the Speed Gaming channels, the twitch.tv/the ALTTPR League. I believe we've got 4 of those channels, if I recall correctly. I know we have at least 2. Yes.
Yeah, there's 4, but we haven't used all 4 yet. We've just been using the main one.
Yeah, but follow those channels. 64 matches a week. Even as week 1 continues to wind down, there's absolutely no shortage of rando over the next 2 months. Of course, follow the runners, twitch.tv/DoctorBobtastic, twitch.tv/Kuchiri. And big shout outs to Math Girl, who managed the tracker tonight and let me focus on talking. So I've been Reg. I will see you guys later, and I will give the last words to the runners here.
May the Triforce befall you, and hopefully you don't ever have a seed that bad.
May all your swamps be in go mode. Goodbye, everybody.